I'm going to stay silent as long as possible. Just kidding. Hey, everybody. Hey, no one on here yet? That makes sense. Starting a live video. As usual, I drink coffee late into the day. Well, I came out here to mention that for those of you who may not have heard yet, I'm going to be playing in San Francisco this weekend, and they're my only West Coast dates of the year that are planned. So I'm not aware of anything else this year over on that side of the country. So if you guys happen to be in San Francisco or anywhere nearby and feel like going to see something, and if you like me and you like Queen, hopefully you'll really like this because I'm doing my show that's like a full set of Queen music, which is one of the bands that I grew up with, and I'm sure many of you grew up with as well. But yeah, so those two dates are Friday and Saturday night at Feinstein's at the Nico in San Francisco, and it's a great venue. I played there only once so far, but it's a really, really nice venue. And I love it's like a pink and green, they've got this like nice, if I remember correctly, it has a flamingo kind of vibe. Maybe there are actual flamingos painted on the wall, I can't remember. I really like the way it looks. And it sounds great too, it's a really fun place to play. But if you guys happen to know anyone in San Francisco that might not know that I'm playing there, feel free to let them know. And if you're there, great. Maybe some of you already have tickets, I'm not sure. But wanted to let you know to make sure that you don't miss it, because I don't have anything else planned this year on the West Coast. I was trying to get an LA gig together, but the place that I normally play is closed temporarily. Maybe they're renovating. I hope they're not permanently closed. But yes, so that's that. And if you have any questions, then I'm happy to answer those too. Hello, people joining. I'm surprised no one's asking questions yet, so I guess I'll just keep talking. But and thank you to you guys who have been getting that merchandise bundle that I have on QuarantineEffectsUSA.com. It's been nice sending those out because I had forgotten. I didn't realize how many of these I actually still had, and so I'm glad to. There aren't many left though, so I don't. Yeah, it's crazy. It takes so long to order vinyl that like even if I were to replenish some of that stuff, it would take at least a few months to get the vinyl in stock. So if you do want it, get that as soon as you can, because I only have a few more of those full sets left, I think. Am I playing Jeff Buckley? I don't know. I've got that part years ago, and it would be great if they get that together and I get to do that film, because certainly be an amazing challenge on a number of levels. And I mean, yeah, he's one of the greatest singers I think ever. I think just like Freddie Mercury in a very different way. But yeah, so I mean, and that's to get back to what I mentioned before. For those of you joining just now, I'm performing at Feinstein's at the Nico in San Francisco this weekend, 2 nights, Friday and Saturday night, the 13th and 14th. So if you're around in the area, or if you feel like a road trip, yeah, I was trying to get an LA show together, but I wasn't able to get one together this year at this point. So this is the only one on the West Coast. So if you're anywhere near there, check it out. Because otherwise, I play in New York a lot, obviously, but I don't play over there too often. What's my vocal range? I'm always trying to expand it in both directions. Yeah, so I don't really necessarily have an answer for that. Yeah, always trying to grow it if I can, as much as I can. But I guess maybe, yeah, I'm working on this, like, not all this, not on a daily basis, but I love working on whistle tone stuff. I think that's really cool and difficult, but difficult to control. It's hitting the notes was one thing, but to do it in a live setting is pretty hard, because I do that at home more than live, I'd say. Female Broadway roles. I don't know if I should say, but yeah, to be honest with you, I'd rather play female roles than male roles. Not all the time, but I just like doing things that are a bit unexpected. And so, I would say the thing that seems the most obvious for me, unless you like know me really well, then maybe you would pick something that would be obvious for me that would not be obvious to the general populace. But I would say the things that people would maybe expect me to do are probably not the things that I'd want to do. So female roles, yeah, I'd be into that. That'd be great. What did I write new for you from the Breaking Dawn soundtrack about? Yeah, so those of you who might not know, I wrote a song that was featured in the Twilight film Breaking Dawn Part 2. I actually wrote it. The director, Bill Condon, sent me a clip of a scene from the film, and I actually scored my song to that scene, but my song didn't ultimately get selected for that scene. The song they chose was Feist's Fire in the Water, if you remember that. So that's the song that was featured in the scene that I wrote my song to. But essentially, what I did is I watched. I'm a big fan of those movies in many ways. I mean, I like all kinds of films, but I think I definitely understand the appeal of those films, and so I watched all of them back. The ones that had existed at that point, at the time of my writing that song, I think only 3 of the films were available on DVD or like iTunes and all that. So I watched all 3 of those and tried to get inspired by the film along with the scene that they had sent to me. And so yeah, I wrote it just about their characters, really. Do we have any albums coming out with new music? Nothing full yet. I'm not necessarily focused on doing that at the moment. I think it's interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but it feels like the industry has kind of reverted a little bit more back to the 1950s in a way, with like where singles were king as opposed to LPs, like which became a big thing in like the mid 60s and 70s and then beyond, and then 80s and 90s, and then it kind of started to go back a little. I think iTunes has a lot to do. I mean, Napster first, and then iTunes has a lot to do with that because, people, they were kind of getting away with something in the 80s, which wasn't good in some cases. I mean, there were so many artists like Billy Joel releasing incredible albums. That's just one example, but he's one of the reasons I became a musician, so I mentioned him. But incredible albums that where there's really not a dull track or a dull moment. But there were other bands who were really getting away with selling a $20 CD in like 1989, let's say, where it had maybe 1 or 2 songs that like were not only the hits, but also maybe some of these bands would even say, oh yeah, the rest of the album's filler. I think that probably is part of what led to something like Napster happening. And now obviously you can buy track by track, so people can't essentially try to sell you on like, charging that much money for just like 1 or 2 songs that you're going to listen to. So for that reason, I guess I am more focused on just making sure that the things that I'm writing are things that I really believe in, like I've always done, but it just takes a lot more time. So to put together 10 or 12 songs that I feel fit together really, really well, and I'm very proud of it, it takes a little longer. So I think, I don't know, at the moment I'm thinking maybe doing singles, because I do so many other things too, so I'm not just focused on I'm recording music only. Oh yeah, it's terrible about Brian Wilson. Too young. I mean, he's, I didn't expect him to. I mean, you never know with that kind of thing. But what a huge influence on me and on everybody. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. I will say for me, like a song of mine like "There She Goes" wouldn't exist, I don't think, without Brian Wilson and Pet Sounds and everything before and after that, I guess. You could say, and even like Queen, this show that I'm doing this weekend, it's I don't think Bohemian Rhapsody would have existed likely without Pet Sounds. What do we got here? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on these questions, you guys. Oh, nice. Okay. Trying to get some questions here. I missed a bunch of these, but I'm trying to get one where I have a good answer, to it. What are my favorite songs that I've released? I've liked them all. I mean, I think I am really proud of my newest one, America. If you haven't heard that, check that out. What did I miss? Why are you dressed like Orpheus? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Not everyone. Some people ask me that. So, most jobs that I take it as a compliment. I mean, it's pretty much every film or piece of theater I've been a part of, the director has said, "Wow, we like that," and something I'm wearing, and they go, "We're gonna put that in the show." So it's just kind of happened to me. I mean, like, I did a film called The Tempest in 2008, and this bracelet made its way in because Julie Taymor loved it. So this is my mom's bracelet. Her company, FablesInTheAir.com. If you don't know it, check it out. But so I wore this in that film. I was wearing some rings and a not a pinstripe, but like a striped waistcoat to my audition for Penny Dreadful for the role of Dorian Gray. And our showrunner, John Logan, he didn't say this specifically, but I know that our costume designer ended up designing a similar looking vest, and I had all these rings on in the show and all that stuff. So I've had that happen. And then Hadestown, same thing, like my audition, I wore like suspenders and a white t-shirt and like a bandana, and they're like, "That's it." So, right, actually, it wasn't my audition. It was actually that's one job I didn't have to audition for, but it was the first workshop that I showed up for. And yeah, so that just kind of happens sometimes, but I guess I take it as a compliment. Even in Spider-Man, they had me wearing suspenders because of mine, so it is what it is, but yeah. The funny thing I think is that I've accidentally forced like anyone else who plays that role to dress like a weird version of me. So that's kind of funny to me. And it wasn't my fault. I did. Well, I guess it wasn't at my urging. I didn't say let's put these in the show. Roberto, oh yeah, House of Gucci too. That's right. Is that really? That can't. That would be great if that was happening. That's awesome. You could probably do that actually. Roberto is the writer of House of Gucci, you guys. Hey Keith, that's awesome. Yeah, draw Petunia. That's great. She'd love it. Yeah, Bandana Boy. Yeah. Well, the thing I like about him, a bunch of things. For one, in the cold weather, I won't wear it like this. I'll usually wear it more down, covering the neck. But in the hot weather, I can soak this in water on like a 90-degree day. I mean, it's just most of the things I do are utilitarian in some way. I mean, these kind of allow me to carry a lot of things in my pockets, which I like to do. And just to have things I need with me, But and then yeah, this you can but also it can kind of dress up any sort of t-shirt based outfit. So both of these together, so you can kind of, if you didn't plan on ending up in like a fancier place, when you left your house in the morning, you have a better shot at just like not having to go home and just continuing your night. So that's another thing. If Hadestown's coming out with a live recording, I mean, we filmed the live show, a filmed recording. I don't know if they plan to do an audio only recording of that, but I assume that they're planning on releasing that. Sing There She Goes to the show. I sing it at a lot of my shows, actually. I'm actually July 18th. I'm back here in New York, and there are live stream tickets for that one if you want to get that. Most likely I'll be doing that song that night. Let me see here. Advice for beginner songwriters. I mean, I'd say like transcribe, whether that means you're actually writing it down or just listen to other people's music and learn it. You don't have to learn it by ear. You could read the sheet music, but I think learning it by ear, that's how I learn most of my things. I think you absorb it in a different way that way. So if you do that, then I think you might kind of start to understand how some of your favorite songs are structured, and then you can kind of build your own from there. What am I missing? Sorry, I'm looking to see. I think I missed a lot of comments. There were questions. I'm going to check. My experience working in the Tempest was great. I mean, it was crazy for me because I think I was one of only maybe 2 actors that hadn't been nominated for an Academy Award. So it was like pretty insane. Like the cast was, and that was my first film as an adult. So that was getting thrown into the deep end of the pool. But with a lot of amazing people to help teach you, just by example. Okay. I'm trying to see. Any other tour plans? There are a couple of things that 1 or 2 things that'll be announced later but they're not on the West Coast or the East Coast. So for those of you who are like on either one of those coasts, thankfully I play in New York regularly. So if you're out here or like Boston, I haven't been leaving New York City that much lately. But if you live on the East Coast and you feel like a trip up to New York, I'm there pretty much every month. But then this weekend at Fine Scenes at the Nico in San Francisco is the only West Coast date that I have, or 2 dates in a row that I have. But those are the only dates I have planned this year. Thank you, Love America. Yes, thank you. Or the song, yeah, in the country, but yes, thank you. Okay. Sorry, reading these questions. Someone is asking about how I've evolved the song "Wait for Me" and my performance of that song during my Hadestown run. I'm not one of those actors who just kind of does whatever I want to do, no matter what the director says or no matter what the creative team says. So for me, a lot of what I do is influenced by their input, because it's a collaborative process. So, and like I played that part for so long, there were times when I got different guidance throughout the process. So some things naturally changed for that reason, because it was like, and some of that guidance was, I think, based on the state of the world having changed. So like this might read better now than it did. Whereas like when you're doing a film, you generally only get a few takes. So whatever you do, it's going to be distilled in that moment, and it's a different experience doing a long running theatrical show. It's natural that it will likely change a bit, but a lot of that does have to do with changing tastes. People maybe wanting something a little different as the run goes on. Oh yeah, hello to the Hadestown cast that just closed. Was that the teen edition? I haven't seen any of those in person yet, but that'd be great to see one of those. Oh, that's so cool! You got one of my mom's necklaces. Nice. Okay, sorry, reading some of these. Do I miss Jean Jacket Orpheus? No, I mean, not necessarily. I feel like that was before the show really figured out what it was, but it was good. It was a part of the process for sure. that was another thing. I wore to Eva's, or even my chemistry read. I wore a jean jacket similar to that, and that's part of why that ended up in the show too, which is funny. Favorite guitar to play? I don't necessarily. I mean, I love switching it up between. It's nice to familiarize yourself with as many as you can, so that you can. If you have to jump on someone else's guitar, for instance, it makes it easier to do that. Oh yeah, I knew you were triple fight scenes. That was crazy. I actually cut my knuckles during that because there was some glass. I don't know if I think it was like a real bar that they rented out for the day, and so I think there was some broken glass from like the night before, maybe, or maybe it was from some other shoot. But when I landed on the floor on one of them, I was like, oh man, like. And those were real stuntmen. I was, I was just going along with them, but it's crazy because they actually were punching. I accidentally knocked one of them in the face. Oh man, I felt really bad. He was really cool about it, but yeah, because it's hard. It's especially when you're not a stuntman. You do your best. But the last thing I want to do is actually hit somebody. But especially when you're trying to play make believe and all that. But yeah, I don't know if they used that part, but then they actually were punching me too. But it was I was able to prepare for it because it was like in the abdominal region. When am I coming to LA? I don't know. I don't have a plan for performing there yet this year. Well, I try to find more questions for you. Those of you just joining, if you're on the West Coast this weekend and you want to come hear me perform live, I'm doing 2 nights in a row at Feinstein's at the Nico, where I'm playing all Queen music, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. Oh, how do I change my vocal production to closely approximate Freddie's unique sound? I mean, Freddie's always been one of my favorite singers. I grew up singing in blues clubs and singing jazz music. So for me, and I sang in church and all that. So like, I've done like the choir type thing and varying styles. But my natural thing, I tend to love a bit of grit in the sound. I mean, having grown up in blues clubs and all that stuff, and singing and playing that way. So for me, that's a bit more. They didn't want that for Hades Town, and so I had to just all right, cool, we'll take that part of it out. But yeah, for me, it's a bit more. I don't know. I enjoyed singing with a little bit more that sort of texture. It comes a little bit. I think it's like just from what I grew up listening to. Oh yeah. What age did I start acting and singing? I told my parents I wanted to be an actor when I was 8 years old, and within like a couple years, we met someone in the business because I grew up in New York City, so there, a bit more opportunity to find people like that. My parents didn't initially want me to do it because it's a difficult business. They're both in it as well in the arts. But yeah, so I started that. Yeah, I guess I got my SAG card when I was 9. From being an extra background performer in 2 different films in the early 90s. And, yeah. But I was singing on jingles before that for my dad, who was a jingle writer in the 80s at that time, in the 90s. And so I was singing on his jingles by the age of 6. So, like, I started all that stuff around the same time. What am I planning to do next when I go back to Broadway? I don't know. It doesn't usually work like that unless you're producing your own show. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any. I don't necessarily have a show that I'm like, ooh, yeah, let me produce this and this is what I want to do. So, because there's so many other things that I do and that I am interested in, and like, so I spend my time in a number of different ways. But as pertains to Broadway, generally what happens is you'll get an audition or an offer from don't know. I think some people may have expected it for some reason to be something other than what it was, but I think when you realize what it is, you can really enjoy something like that. I mean, it was really special for me getting to perform for kids that were, in some ways, I don't know, just making a big impact on people that were quite young, that may not have otherwise gone to see, some other show that was playing on Broadway that season. And then now they're like huge Broadway fans because of, I'm not saying just because of Spider-Man. For me, it was something like Cats. I saw that when I was 4 years old. And that definitely got me interested in theater because, and it was, of course, a show that was, it was interesting for, it was something that children were interested in, and they may not have been interested in some of the other things out that season, as much. That's a good question. In my interpretation, what do the La-Las represent in Hadestown? When we were first mounting the show, it was my understanding from the creative team that after a lot of asking that same question of them, that the La-Las were essentially the only time Orpheus was actually singing a song. So that I think has evolved over the years, and maybe that's not how they feel now, but I think at the time in like 2017, 18, 19, that it was sort of like the rest of it was, because the whole thing's sung through as an opera in a sense, folk opera, that those La-Las were sort of the only moment of song, and that is the song, as opposed to the verses and epic being a part of the song. That was my original understanding of it. Oh, has the mic been... Yeah, these phones, it's annoying how they... I don't know why they put the mic there. Unless they want you to hold the phone like this. It's like, what's covered now? Yeah. There is not a Youth is Wasted entire... There's not... The entire album is not available on vinyl, but hopefully one day I will have it available. But like I said, it takes a long time to order that stuff. And I haven't ordered it yet. But I do have all... For those of you who want those and haven't gotten it yet, I do have the merch bundle on the Quarantine Effects USA website, which has all of the songs from the album that are available on vinyl. You can get in that bundle, and I think 10 of the 15 songs are available on there. Whoa, a lot of questions I've missed. Okay. All right. I'm looking to see if there are any more questions, but if not, I might sign off soon, but any tips for auditioning for Orpheus? I don't know. I mean, the best audition advice I can get is, I mean, it's great. I would say if you can get if you have an in-person audition, that's already awesome. I mean, I think the most frustrating thing about the last, particularly 5 years, but even like 7 or 8 years, maybe there have been so many more self-tapes that it seems that casting offices almost don't exist in many cases, and so sending it, without that feedback from the casting director or anybody else in the creative team, it's difficult to know whether you'll have your first instinct, and then it's hard to know. It's nice to have. It's kind of crucial in some ways to have that feedback so that you know if you're even on the right track. It's hard to know. I mean, every production is different, even with the same show. So I don't really know. But I will say, especially when you are in the room, the more you can enjoy. I mean, it's great if you can enjoy it on a tape too, but I think it maybe is a little easier to enjoy when you actually have people to perform for in front of you. But just like enjoying the performance, enjoying the chance to show them what you can do, I think, is always a good thing, as opposed to being worried about doing what you might expect they want from you. I mean, but that's hard because it's a weird balance. I don't really know. I don't know if I've even, yeah. Nice. Yeah, I mean, does Broadway performing on Broadway get routine or repetitive, or you try to keep it fresh in different ways? I mean, I think it's our responsibility to keep it fresh. The thing is, that's a great challenge. Because in Hadestown, for instance, I did 1,200 performances on Broadway, right about that. But the thing is, yeah, if you're there would be days when I'm like, oh man, I'm pretty tired, because you're doing 8 of those a week, so you get a little bit tired, but at times, and you might not be getting as much sleep as you need. But I find that the moment I step out on the stage and I feel the audience, I'm already preparing for that mentally before going out there, but it's very easy to realize, oh well, yeah, like come on, like we're here. These people are all watching it for the first time. I better be giving them my best and make it feel as though this is the first time I've ever done this, in a good way. So obviously, like you want to feel like it's in your, not like the first time, like the first time you've ever performed it, for an audience. I always aim for that because I've definitely seen shows where I haven't felt that is what is happening from the stage, and with the amount of money people are paying for these shows, in most cases, it's really out of respect for them and respect for yourself, you have to do that. So I think that's crucial, and it makes it more enjoyable anyway, because you're going to spend the same amount of minutes on stage, no matter how hard you're trying. So you better do your best. That's how I look at it. Do the best you can, But I like the long run because it actually takes, I would say it takes a few weeks. I mean, for me, I'd say even maybe 6 weeks from the first preview, the first performance, to really go, oh yeah, this is what this is. I think it takes some time. It usually can, not always, but it can. Because you're working with so many moving pieces and everyone's figuring things out, and to kind of, I think things tend to lock in. There's a lot of excitement the first performance. You have all that, so I mean, I love seeing shows at every stage of the run, which is one reason I've seen Eva in Cabaret 6 times already. I'm going back soon too, but I love seeing them, in multiple stages of the production. Yeah. Oh yeah, any actors that I cite as major influences? So many. I mean, Al Pacino is one of my favorites. So many. I mean, there are a couple young ones that sadly passed away way too young I was huge fans of. Heath Ledger and Anton Yelchin. I was huge fans of theirs. It's crazy to imagine like what they would be doing now if they were still making films, because they were 2 of the greatest from this generation, I think. What is this here? Spider-Man, yeah. I've done that occasionally. I've done a couple Spider-Man songs before, but yeah. I'm not always that. I do realize it's something that people who are aware of my work through through the musical theater idiom would be interested in me doing, but I'm not totally. It's not necessarily those aren't the things that I'm drawn to as much as, like, I do this show that some of you probably know called Reeve, Carney Sings the Divas, and that's me singing all female songs throughout the Broadway canon. That's kind of more my speed, things that I'm more interested in, that sort of thing, than doing what's really, really expected, I guess. Favorite Brian Wilson song? That's hard, but Good Vibrations is hard to beat in some ways. More as a production, I guess. I mean, God only knows. I mean, there's so many. Pet Sounds, if you haven't heard that album, that's a huge inspiration on me and many countless musicians. Worst pies and yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested in Sweeney Todd's. I'd certainly be interested in that. It's great music. Waving Through Window. I don't think that one. That would be funny, me playing that character. I can't picture that really. Yeah, Frank Sinatra, Elvis tribute. I've thought about an Elvis one actually many times. The thing is, yeah, I've got to figure out whether I'm going to do them all in his original key or change it up to make it more kind of a different thing, more in line with like how I do some of these other shows. I actually got to sing with Jackson Browne at my friend Tal Wilkinsfeld's birthday party, which was so cool and crazy. I was singing background vocals for him on, wow, which ones did we do? Is it, no, I'm forgetting the exact title. Is it Gonna Be Somebody's Baby or just Somebody's Baby? We did that. We did a couple others. It was really, really crazy. And then out of nowhere, oh man, that was a wild night on stage. I'll tell you the full story sometime. Dream people to work with. I don't know. Many. But I might, I do have to get back to some things. So I think since it slowed down a little bit with the questions, I'm gonna get back to this. But if you guys are in San Francisco this weekend, or if you feel like making a trip there, I am performing my tribute to Queen concert, which I'm very excited to be doing on Friday the 13th. Oh yeah, nice. Is that right? Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th. This weekend. So in San Francisco, if you're on the West Coast or if you happen to be right in that area and feel like a trip up there, come on up. All right. I will talk to you guys soon. I'll try to do one of these soon. Thanks so much. See ya.